Hey gamers, Fizz Knight here. I'm putting together this video to help new players with some tips for Ravendawn that I wish I knew before starting. So if you just found out about this Tibia RuneScape-like game and want some quick, essential tips that will make your life easier, stay tuned and I'll see if I can make your time in Ravendale a little smoother. First and foremost, I apologize. I have a bit of a cold or an allergy. I'm not sure which. So I'm going to sound a little stuffed up today, and I apologize for that. Now, there are already some pretty good new player guides out there for Ravendawn, but I still wanted to make my own guide because I did find a few things that weren't in those guides that I was lost on. And I had to ask questions on global chat and then Discord to get those answers. So I'll save you the hassle of sounding like a noob sauce in global chat like I did, and I'll explain those here in this guide. So you just fired up Ravendawn for the first time, and now you need to pick your archetype. So just a little explanation on archetypes and classes. Basically very simple. You will start with one archetype when you first create your character, and then as you level, you'll be able to pick 2 more archetypes out of the 8 possible. After you choose your third archetype, these 3 archetypes you now picked will make up your class. So for instance, I chose Wizardry as my first archetype when I started the game. And as I leveled, I chose Holy for my next one, and then lastly, Spiritual. These 3 archetypes make up the Sage class, which you see here. You can switch between these archetypes at any given time for a small silver fee. And you can level up each individually, which does have a benefit. So what is that benefit? So basically, let's say you leveled your 3 archetypes to level 25, and you want to switch and level up Protection archetype now. Well, you would start out at level 1 again in Protection, but any stat bonuses and skill points you earn while leveling in Protection would carry over to the other classes you leveled. You'll hear and see the term legacy level being used. This is just an average level of all your archetypes that determines story quests and whatnot. Your effective level is the average level of your 3 archetypes that you're currently using. It sounds a little confusing at first, but for the most part, your 3 archetypes make up your class, and the level of the 3 archetypes you're currently using makes up your average level. For some UI tips, by default, the top left 3 bars on your screen will show you your health, mana, and the green bar shows how well fed your MOA is if you have them out. You can increase the MOA bar by feeding your MOA rations. The little screen underneath this is your target screen that will show any players or enemies in close proximity to you. You will have your ability bar by default at the bottom middle of your screen with your MOA button. There's an XP bar beneath this, and the middle purple circle is your Aether. Your Aether is a resource that you will gain and use by using your skills you selected. You can see how much Aether your skill gains or uses by looking in your skill tree tab. You'll have something like minus 50 or plus 50. You also see a weapon skill button that has a cooldown. Mine is 45 seconds. I'm not sure if all classes have the same cooldown time, but it's a nice ability that can get you out of a bad situation. By hitting escape, you'll see a Windows tab that you can go into. At the top, you'll see ability bars. This is how you can add more ability bars as you progress in the game and get more skills. I couldn't find this when I first started playing Ravendawn. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. You have your mini-map in the top right. Quests are underneath this by default. There is a fast travel button on the mini-map you can use every 4 hours that will teleport you back to Ravencrest, which is pretty convenient. You'll see a small button on your mini-map with a number in it. This is your channel that you're currently on. You can switch these in non-combative areas if places are too crowded. You can customize your UI and move all these windows around by toggling Edit UI in the Windows Setting tab. So now on to Ravenpacks, which is a cool little feature that will amplify your in-game abilities for each archetype. Ravenpacks are pretty simple to understand. Basically, every level you go up, you will gain around 200 Dawn Essences. When you complete Northstar quests, which are every 5th level, you will get even more Dawn Essences. For every enemy you kill, there is a chance for a different tier of supply bags to drop. These bags can also contain Dawn Essences that you can use to purchase more Ravenpacks. Each Ravenpack is 300 Dawn Essence. Now, for each ability you choose in your archetype, you have a chance to draw 2 cards for each ability that will amplify that ability in a certain way. One of my first concerns was, oh boy, is this a way they're going to pay to win this game? Well, let me put your concerns to rest. You can only earn Dawn Essence for card packs. As far as I know, there's no other way to earn them. In fact, the only things I could see that you could get an advantage from is buying Raven coins to upgrade your bags, and there's a couple items you can buy with coins to some vendors that will give you potions and the such. Beyond that, I haven't come across any pay-to-win features that would deter me from playing, and I'm personally not a fan of pay-to-win games. Now on to the gear upgrade system in Ravendawn, which is called Infusing. As you adventure, enemies have a chance to drop infusion items like warbands and ancient tablets. You can then use these to upgrade the gear you are currently using by clicking the infusion button on your inventory tab. It's a pretty straightforward system here, but one of the important things to note is that when you do upgrade gear from different tiers, you can infuse your new gear with your old piece of gear, and it will carry over all your infusion from your old piece. This is great because you will not lose any infusion upgrades you made. The crafting system, again, is pretty straightforward as well. You have your typical trades and gathering professions like mining, woodcutting, cooking, and so on. One thing I can tell you is that do not neglect professions in Ravendawn for just pure fighting and questing. Crafting, farming, and gathering will level you much quicker if you put some time into it. I actually gain at least a quarter level almost every time I harvest my community garden in Ravencrest. One other thing to note that I didn't realize at first is there is a passive button on each profession page. Every 3 points you earn in each profession will let you add a passive to that profession. Don't neglect these points because they give you things like added harvests and finished product when you're doing your professions. There is only one market, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and that's in the main Ravencrest city. This is basically your auction house for the game where you can trade things you craft like gear, food, potions, infusion items, etc. The reputation system I won't go over too much. It's pretty straightforward again here. You gain rep as you do quests in Ravendawn. You can then use these rep points to pick passive bonuses that increase things like your XP from gathering, more revenue from Tradepacks, etc. So on the transports, basically you have 3 types, and that is your Moa ground mount pet that you summon, a ship, and also a wagon cart that you can use to carry trade packs around the world. More about trade packs later. Now to summon the Moa, it's as simple as clicking the little bird icon on the left of your ability bar. To summon your ship, you need to walk off a port area, and you will automatically just summon your ship that way. Now this was the tricky one that made me look like a noob in global chat, and also I didn't see this in any of the other new player guides, and this is how to summon your wagon. So to summon it, you need to have your Moa out, and once that is done, you have to control left click your mount and character, and then a menu will come up allowing you to create your wagon. I literally spent 10 to 15 minutes looking around trying to find a button that summoned the wagon. So hopefully that will save some people some time. I'm guessing they may add a button for this as well, like the Moa down the road, hopefully. Okay, on the trade packs, which I mentioned before. This one may be the most confusing aspect of Ravendawn for some people, but it's actually pretty simple. By hitting T in Ravendawn, a window will pop up that will show you which trade packs you can create. It will highlight which items you already have and put a check next to it so you can easily identify that you have enough of that product for the pack. You can get most of these, if not all of these, ingredients by farming in your house or your community farm, killing enemies, and harvesting. Once you have enough resources, you simply go to a monk merchant in town and ask to create a trade pack. This will give you a pack that you can then store in a warehouse or put on a wagon or ship. These packs can then be carried from wherever you initially created the pack to a new area in the world of Ravendawn. You cannot sell the pack from the monk merchant you made the pack from. In its simplest form, you just have to get a trade pack from point A to point B without getting PvP'd and killed. Sometimes this will be easy money, sometimes you will get attacked if a player sees you. I'm normally not into PvP and MMOs, but I actually did kind of enjoy this, because if you do end up taking down a player, that is holding a pack. For every pack they are holding, it's an instant 20,000 silver for you, because then you can take their pack and drop it off. Packs are worth roughly about 20,000 silver on average from what I've seen. It does vary a bit, and you can see this when you hit T. There's a little arrow for each trade pack that will show you the percentage of the trade pack value you will get for whatever destination you set off to. Generally, longer destinations pay more per pack, but again, then you have more of a chance to get into PvP the longer you're on the road or on sea, so keep that in mind. You will gain trade pack certificates as you level up in the game that will let you make a couple free trade packs. I actually made 2 packs from these when I first started, and unfortunately I got PvP'd on my way to the destination, so someone got a nice 40k off me. But honestly, my next 3 packs I made, I had no issue getting to the destination and made quite a bit of silver. So there's these quests which I mentioned before called Northstar quests, and they're basically just quests that automatically finish once you earn a certain legacy level. They will give you a ton of silver, dawn essence, infusion items, etc. Basically every 5 legacy levels you will complete these. The next type of quest is called Ranger Company quests that you can receive by touching the quest boards in any outpost. I definitely recommend doing these because as you finish them, you will level up your company level and be able to purchase different tiers of items, like really helpful gear and trinkets. Some of the amulets, rings, and trinkets are pretty powerful, and I couldn't find them anywhere else in the game. You could pick from 3 different quests that will ask you to farm from 15,000, 30,000, or 60,000 XP from a certain monster type. This is great XP, and plus a lot of the areas they send you to, you can mine and gather other resources as you're waiting for the respawns. When you do finish these quests, you will earn badges that you can turn into a merchant in any outpost. This is how you get the potions and gear that I talked about before. There are guilds in Ravendawn. You can choose to join one simply by hitting the guild icon. You can also start your own, but it will cost you 100,000 silver right off the bat to make one, so keep that in mind. Let's talk about community land now and farming. There is a little area in Ravencrest in the lower right portion of the city. This area, when you walk into it, will allow you to place crops and trees for farming by hitting toggle house mode on your minimap. A page will come up showing you all the crops you have available to place. This is based on your farming level, so the more you farm, the more types of crops you'll be able to place here. The developers did increase the community land size recently, so now you're able to lay more crops down. I definitely would not neglect this part of the game because just by harvesting crops, you will gain tons of XP. You can then gain even more XP because now you can cook these ingredients or make trade packs out of them, which will sell for tons of silver. One of the last things about farming is you will need effort points to farm. These can be gained by killing enemies and doing quests. Every 100 XP that you earn will equal out to 1 effort point. You can see your effort points by hitting toggle farm on the minimap. You'll see a button with an arm flexing. This is your total effort points you have. In Ravendawn, you could purchase land and build a house that will let you grow your crops, farm, and breed new moa on them. At level 25, you'll earn a land plot deed that you can use to purchase a small plot. Sadly, as of right now, all the small plots I believe on both servers are sold, so you will need to buy one off another player as they upgrade to medium and large plots. Fear not, this is pretty commonplace. There are a lot of people selling the small plots now. The developers even made a sort of on-the-fly middleman program in Discord where you can use a verified middleman to buy or sell a plot so you don't get scammed out of your silver. The developers also mentioned that there may be future updates to make transferring of land a safer venture. They are also going to be adding more map areas for land in future updates. There are five types of land right now, which are small, medium, large estate, stronghold, and fort. The cost of these goes up pretty significantly with each tier, the later ones being in the tens of millions. A couple of small things. The penalty for dying is a small XP debt that you have to reacquire or pay off with silver. I usually just use silver because it's usually a pretty small amount, although I'm not really high in the level right now. I'm only around level 26. It's really not a punishing death system, to be honest. There are things called artifacts you can earn. I don't know much about them. I've never come across any yet. I guess you can earn them through quests and boss drops. They're supposed to add custom shops, stocks, respawn points. I believe this is more of a late game thing. Well, that about wraps things up with my new player guide for Ravendawn. I hope this helps some new players out. I'm pretty sure I touched on most of the aspects of the game. If I left something important out, I apologize beforehand, and please let me know in the comments below. If this guide did help you, hit me up with a like and subscribe. I very much appreciate it. So I'll see you guys next time. I'm out of here. Peace.